All right, good morning, everyone. Yeah, it's kind of like the voice of God, right? Well, actually, I guess you can see my face, so that's fine. Anyway, happy Sunday. Um, yeah, sorry I can't be there in person, but I felt I really want to be more present despite my travels to be consistent and spending a little time with you guys. So that's why I am here despite my lack of physical presence. So today, we're also trying something a little bit different since our rebirth workshop. We're trying to rethink what a our Sunday services can look like to better reflect some of the things we learned through the rebirth workshop. And that topic I'm going to cover today is on rebirth. Okay, so rebirth. And I want to read one scripture from the Mother of Peace. Um, yeah, I'll read it twice. See if any word or phrase sticks out to you. It's just a couple sentences. So this is from Mother of Peace. We have wandered through history without knowing God or the true way of life. We have felt like orphans. I have striven throughout my life to lead humanity to the welcoming, forgiving, rebirthing love of God, who is our heavenly parent. Okay, one more time. We have wandered through history without knowing God or the true way of life. We have felt like orphans. I have striven throughout my life to lead humanity to the welcoming, forgiving, rebirthing love of God, who is our heavenly parent. So for me, the thing that stood out in this passage was this forgiving, rebirthing love of God, who is our heavenly parent. And Mother really emphasizes this point over and over again, that we need to really testify to God as our heavenly parent. So on the topic of rebirth, I looked it up quickly online, and the definition of rebirth is to be born again or reincarnated, having been reborn in another body. So it means to kind of be born again into a new body even. So, this past weekend, we had our rebirth workshop in Clifton, New Jersey. I was really grateful for uh, President Dunkley to come and really invest everything to provide that for our community. Apologize, it was a little hot, although God helped with thunder and rain to cool it down the next days. Um, but yeah, similar to the outline that you know um, Mrs. Pobans shared. Um, for me, the challenge from that workshop, the main challenge for me was that it was very spirit led. And what I mean by that is there's no honoring of timelines or schedule. And we only had like 15 minutes of a restroom break, and everything was overtime. So, and a lot of dancing at the end. And anyway, it was very spirit led. I like things a little bit more organized. Um, but I must say, it was really nice seeing everyone during near the end when we had the "It's a Beautiful Life" song come on, and people were kind of freely getting up and dancing to the beat. I found even myself kind of starting to move to the beat. Um, yeah, I felt like, maybe this is a new era and how it should feel like in experiencing our Sundays. That more than a Sunday service, what if we were to do more like Sunday celebrations? A celebration of life, celebration of each other, celebration of our own and each other's breakthroughs in the past week, in our own experiences with God. Uh, one insight that I got, one new insight I got this past weekend was the question came up: why does Mother like apples so much? She made apple heaven, and she gives apples, and That's her favorite fruit. So why does she like apples so much? And then the thought occurred, which was maybe it's because she's experienced so many salty situations in life that apples were a comfort for her to help kind of reduce the intensity of the saltiness. Anyway, that was one new insight from this past weekend, but the consistent insight that I got from each of the Rebirth workshops, which this one would be my 9th, or I guess 8.5 since I showed up late, is this phrase that Damien shared, Mother saying that 99.999% of birth and rebirth comes from the mother side. And this is something I've really been intrigued by, and I feel is the key to really entering and living in this new era. In one sense, I feel like we've been focusing on the 0.01%, the father side, or the father's perspective, the vision, the truth, kind of trying to, in one sense, like push our way through to build God's kingdom. But if in fact our internal, our physical birth, and also our spiritual rebirth comes 99.999% from the mother side, then we need to explore what that looks like. What does that 99.999% of spiritual rebirth look like, feel like? And I feel like we had a chance to taste a little bit of it this past weekend. More stories, more testimony, more music. If you go to Korea, I remember many times I was really moved by the musical performances that Mother produced and showcased to all the participants and leaders who attended in the stadium. And it's like a whole story, the biblical principled story of Adam and Eve, the fall, restoration, true parents, all of that done in not a lecture form, but in the form of a musical. So I really feel like, Mother's emphasis also on preparing the proper environment, I really feel is key. And so as a community moving forward, I really want to think about creating an environment where people can more naturally feel Heavenly Mother's love. And now I know it's one thing to have it as an idea and a concept, and it's another to actually realize it and create that, co-create that. But I want to ask each of you to help me, help us, help the team, let us work together to create an environment that naturally represents God's particularly Heavenly Mother's love. And I'm committed to explore that within my own self, meaning feeling this forgiving, rebirthing love of God in my life, first off, and also share that, be generous with that love in my own family, and also do my best to practice that in engaging with our team and also our community. And I really feel that that's going to be a change. That's going to really allow us to not only enter in this era, but respond to Mother's request to really grow our community in substance. So I'm really excited about that. And I want to leave you with a discussion question, which is, how can we experience the love of Heavenly Mother, the 99.999%, the forgiving, rebirthing love of Heavenly Mother more in our lives? So I'm going to repeat that again. How can we experience the love of Heavenly Mother more in our lives? Let's take 5 minutes to turn to a neighbor and share, and then we'll wrap it up after that.
Yeah, we'd like to invite some people to share their reflections. Let's see. Do we have anyone feeling especially inspired? Anyone feeling something God is really speaking to them that they'd like to share, their own realizations? Yes, yes.
Stand up. So I'm inspired by.
Can you say your name? Could you say your name for us?
Hello, my name is Hayo Chung, and I'm inspired by So I am inspired that 99.9% of are from woman and 0.1 comes from man, but that's my reflection.
Thank you. Out of the mouth of babes, huh? That's wonderful. I'm glad that inspired you. I'm really glad that inspired you. I know, my husband is a numbers guy too. He likes numbers. He's inspired by numbers as well. Yes. All right. One more person. Yes. Please introduce yourself.
My name is George Tega. My wife is here. I was sharing with my wife, and I said the most important aspect was how much I realized the 99.9. I never really manifested that in our lives, maybe because of our cultural barriers. And also, I learned a lesson that I would be able to do more, to be able to go deeper in our heart as a woman and not be subjective as before. Then also, I would be able to extend this to our family and our grandchildren, and that I would like to really express this with the elderly, how to take care of the elderly. When Reverend Dunkley asked the question, I stood up and I said, we need to take care of the elderly. The elderly are just treated like very young people, but special care has to be given to the elderly, not only in our church, but outside the church. And I gave my wife the example of how we mobilized for Mother coming here in our building of the elderly 3 times. And all the time after the COVID, they asked us, when is the next? We don't take care of them. We just ask them to come for the events, and we don't really do something remarkable, like feeding them. That's what we shared. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are some substantial ideas, I think, for practicing the mother's love. I don't know about you, but I feel very inspired by that. Yes, so we'd like to actually invite back up Pastor Naokimi to share a few last words with us.
Okay, thank you for those who are able to share. Thank you everyone for participating in the discussion. Yeah, just one thought that occurred while people were also sharing was that, when we say like we need to really understand the mother's heart more and women more, I really feel a big part of it is just appreciating what's already been provided. It's not that we need to have women take the positions of what men typically take or things like that, but it's really understanding that there's so much that already Heavenly Mother's love and women and mothers have been providing that we kind of take for granted. And that's kind of what came up. And one last kind of example that really helped me understand this concept a little bit was the relationship between the sun and the earth. in providing life for the rest of creation. If you compare, the sun does one thing, does it well, provides sunlight. And without it, there would be no life on earth. But everything else, the rain, the ecosystems, the earth, the nutrients, the wind, the complicated, structures for the different animals and plant species and all that is actually provided by Mother Earth. So in that sense, it's kind of like that ratio of the 99.99% of really sustaining life comes from this Mother Earth's consistent support and providing. And then the father side might be like that sunlight that's shining, that gives a vision half the time, but which is essential. But in terms of sustaining life, the amount of time and energy and process, majority of that is from the mother side. So I hope this new insight can help you reflect and think about how to experience that and appreciate mother's love, particularly Heavenly Mother's love, more in our daily lives. So thank you again for joining us today, and want to wish you all a happy Sunday and a great week. God bless you.